Hi loves, I am Chinwendu. Welcome back again to Eco Designs to Fit YouTube channel. In today's tutorial, I'll be sharing with you guys how to cut and sew the upper part of this beautiful corporate gown. It came with asymmetric lapel neckline. So if this is what you're interested in learning, keep on watching and let's get started. For the sake of this tutorial, I'll be making use of doll face bridal satin, and on top of the table I have just 1 yard because I'm making just the upper part of this gown. Okay, so the first step is for you to fold your pattern paper into two. I've folded mine on top of the table. From the top of my pattern paper, I'm going to go down to 8.5 inches. Okay, that is some inches I'm going to leave for my lapel, and I'm going to make a horizontal line. Now this horizontal line becomes my shoulder points. Now from this shoulder line, I'm going to go down to the waist point, and I'm making use of 16 inches right here. So I'm going to mark it and then make a horizontal line as well, and the remaining inches is going to be for my allowance. Okay, now after that, I'm going to also place my tape on this shoulder line and then mark out my bust point 10 inches. So I'm going to mark it out and also make a horizontal line. Now after this, I'm going to label my lines. Okay, so I have the shoulder line, the bust point, and then the waist line. Now I'm going to move over to the shoulder line, and from the center fold, I'm going to divide my shoulder measurement into two. So I'm going to mark out 7.5 inches. I'm going to go down by 1 inch because our shoulder spine is not straight, and then I'm going to also find my chest line. So I'm going to use my bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches to do that. And after that, I'm going to connect my shoulder slope into the chest line. Okay, so you can see I have my chest line right there, and the next thing I'm going to do is mark out my neck width for the front. Okay, so I'm making use of 3.5 inches right there, and I connected it to the shoulder slope. Now I'm going to divide the distance between my chest line and the shoulder slope into two. Whatever it is I have, I'm going to mark the middle and go in by ½ an inch. Now after that, I'll come over to the chest line and divide my bust circumference by 4, mark it out, and then add my sewing allowance of 1 inch. Now after that, I'll repeat the same thing on the bust point, and on the waistline, I'm going to divide my waist circumference by 4, mark it out. I'll be adding 1 inch for that intake, and then I will also add up 1 inch for my sewing allowance. Now after this, I'm going to go ahead and connect all these points together. Now after this, I'm going to come over to the waistline and I'll mark my nipple to nipple measurement. Here I'm using 4 inches because my nipple to nipple measurement is 8, and after that I'm going to mark my dart of half inch on both sides. Now I also mark my nipple to nipple measurement on the bust line and then connected my darts. Now after this, I'm going to move over to the armhole and connect my armhole curve. Okay, now I'm going to mark out my neck width, which is 3.5 inches, and I'm going to move over to the top of my paper and also repeat the same thing and connect from the shoulder up to this 3.5 inches mark. So guys, after this, I'm equally going to add ½ an inch seam allowances around the shoulder. You can see what I am doing right there. And then after that, I'm going to connect them together. So guys, as you can see, I am done adding up the ½ an inch seam allowance. I'll go ahead and cut this out. Now you have to take note of how I'm cutting out the front pattern. You can see getting to the armhole, I followed the back armhole. I did not follow the front because I want to use this front to cut out the back. Now here is my fresh pattern paper. We're going to use it to cut out the back. Okay, so from the center fold of my pattern paper, I came in by 1.5 inches for my zipper allowance, and then I brought in the front pattern paper, folded in the 8 inches mark, so I'll have just the shoulder showing right there. Now after this, I went ahead to extend my dart legs for the fronts. Okay, and you guys, after this, I'm going to note my bust point, my waistline, and then my shoulder line. As you can see, After this as well, I'm going to go ahead and cut exactly what I have in front, right on the back pattern paper, as you can see me doing like this. Now after cutting it out, I'll move over to the top to mark out my neck depth and my neck width. Okay, for the back neck depth, I'm making use of 1 inch, and for the width, I'm making use of same 3.5 inches. Now after marking this out, I'll go ahead and notch my darts. Okay, so after this, I'll remove my fronts and then outline all that I've just noted. Okay, so it will be visible enough. Now guys, after this, I'm going to follow the dart that I just notched to mark out my back dart, but for the back dart, it's going to be 1 inch above the bust line. I hope you guys understand. Now after this, I'm going to connect my back neckline, and then I'll go ahead and cut it out. After cutting out my neckline, I'm going to move over to the zipper allowance so that we contour the zipper, so we eliminate any form of bulge around the zipper allowance. So from my zip line, I went out by 1 inch and then connected it back to the neckline and then cut it out. Okay, so we are done with this back. I'm going to put it aside, and then we bring in the front for us to work on it. Okay, so now I've gone ahead to bring back my 8 inches mark and then open up my pattern. Okay, so you want to use a tracing wheel to trace out your dart and then mark it out. So you can see what I am doing. Since I've opened it up, I need to have my dart showing on the other side. I hope you guys understand. Now after this, I'm going to label this my pattern, so I'll have the right and the left part. Okay, now from the right part, I'm going to extend it upward just like this and mark a diagonal line. Okay, so this is me trying to trace out my asymmetric lapel neckline. So I went ahead to cut it out, and then after that, I'm going to, from the shoulder point on the left part, go down by 6.5 inches. Okay, now after coming down by 6.5 inches, I'm going to connect it back to the shoulder just like this. But you guys, I actually made a mistake right here. I was supposed to connect it to the 1/2 inch seam allowance, so I corrected myself, as you can see. So now after that, I'm going to go ahead and use my scissors to open it up. Can you see what I'm doing? So guys, I am done opening it up, and here is our lapel. Okay, so you can see it has formed. Now from the right shoulder points, I'm going to go down by 1/2 inch. Now you guys, this is very important. If you don't do this, it will be difficult for you to join this right shoulder to the back shoulder. I hope you understand. So it is very important. Please go down by this 1/2 inch. Now after going down by 1/2 inch, I went ahead to like cut it a little. Okay, so this made my paper to be excess a little, so I'm trying to like cut out that part so that the shoulder can be like, I don't know how to explain it, so that it will not disturb my shoulder points. Okay, so guys, this is what we have for the front pattern. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and cut this out on my fabric. All right, so what I'm going to do is place my fabric into 2, because I need to cut out for both the lining and the actual piece. Okay, so as you can see, I'm trying to cut this out. Now you guys, if you notice, I totally forgot to cut out my front armhole curve. You can see the curve is still there. Please do yours. Do not say I did not tell you. Okay, because after sewing these, I went ahead to do that off camera. Okay, which you might not see in this tutorial, but please go ahead and cut off yours. Okay, so I am done cutting the fronts for both the actual piece and the lining piece. Now I'm going to slash it just like this. Okay, Now I'm going to move over to the darts. Now on these darts, this is what I usually do for it to be easier for me to locate my darts and join them together. So if I'm trimming the dart off, I usually leave about 1/4 of an inch, which I will use to join them together. I hope you guys understand. Now I've gone ahead to cut out the back as well. Okay, so what I will go do is also cut out lining for my back. All right, now I'll go to my machine and sew the front neckline just like the way I'm showing you, and equally join the darts. Okay, so what I did was to join the darts separately, like the actual piece I joined the darts separately, and the lining piece I joined the darts separately, and also when I had to turn the neckline. Now I'm trying to notch my necklines, okay, because you know that this is very sharp. If you don't notch them, by the time you turn it over to the good parts, it might not stay flat. Okay, so I notched it, and you guys, you can see I'm trying to turn it over to the right side. Okay, now because this is very sharp, I went ahead to bring a pointy object to bring out that pointy part, okay, properly well. Please do not forget this. Now I'm going to go ahead and bring out the remaining parts, and you guys, you can see by the time I open up the right side, like by the time I'm trying to bring out the right side, you will see while I came down by 1/2 inch for that shoulder point, you can see that the shoulder came out properly. But if you don't do this, it might be difficult for you to join the back shoulder to that part. Okay, so guys, here is the back. The back, I made use of pink for my lining because I don't have enough fabric to cut out the lining. So guys, you can see I made use of the same type of fabric for the front. This means that I have the choice to choose where I place the lapel. I can either place it to the left or to the right. It all depends on which part I make the wrong part. I hope you guys understand. So now I'm going to go ahead and place the back shoulder to the front shoulder and join the shoulders together. But before that, I'm going to join the zipper allowance. So I'm going to mark out my zipper allowance and then join them together. Now after that, I will go ahead and join my shoulders. Okay, so guys, I am done, and this is what I have. So you can see I'm equally going to go ahead and trim off some part of the armhole because I feel like it is excess, okay, because of that front armhole that I didn't trim off. Okay, so this is the more reason you should trim yours off. I hope you guys understand. So guys, I am done with the upper part of this gown. You can make the down part and then join it to the upper part. This is what we have on the mannequin. I hope you guys find this tutorial helpful. If you do, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, share it so that more people can get to learn from this particular tutorial. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.